Everyone knows that retention is important, but sometimes we just need someone to tell us, do this thing and you'll keep more people. That's what we're going to do today. Welcome to Naamly University Online. I'm Elias Scar. All right, Sumit, thank you so much, sir, for joining me today. I'm very excited about this conversation because I feel like member retention is, it's one of those things where everybody knows it's important, but I don't think there's enough people pay enough attention to how much really good retention strategies can affect every other part of your business. And having been in the industry and really spent hundreds and hundreds of hours with gym owners, what do you see when it comes to retention? What do you feel like is at the heart of retention right now? What do you think people need in order to say, yeah, I want to stay here, I want to be here?
And when you say people stay here and I want to be here, you're looking from the end user experience
Yes,
perspective, or
yeah,
you're
the
looking from
member
the...
experience.
Okay, fair enough. So I think from an end user perspective, Elias, they're looking for two big things, right? One is, as the whole adage goes, they come for results and
Mhm.
they stay for the community. And in that line are both the things. So they're looking for results and they're looking for that higher belonging, their third place, their community, if you will. And if we were to dig deeper in both of those areas, then the question becomes, well, how do I get them the results, right? And we're dealing with master technicians here at place, but we need to be mindful of what's results in their mind. So we
Mhm.
need to track and know their goals as opposed to putting in our goals and like, this is what you need to get. Like there's some level of professionalism there, like we know what's best for you, but there has to be some peppering in. That's the peppering part. What we also need to be mindful of is what is the customer coming in here for?
Right.
What So that's that part.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I agree because at any moment ultimately people spend time with people they like. Like I have to like it here. That's plugged into the community, the team, the staff, everybody else. And you have to keep your promise, right? You
yes.
promised me you would help me with this specific outcome, and you got to keep that promise. So thinking with those two things, with that foundation of retention in mind, um, where we tend to lose it is, okay, I can create community and I can deliver results, but what is a practical application of that? Like there's no manual on creating community. There are some great books out there on how to create community and some great books on training, but give me an idea of something, especially from a software perspective, because as software becomes a more and more integral part of running a gym. What are some of the day-to-day things that people should be looking out for when it comes to member retention that software might help them with?
All right, fair enough. That's great. So on the second part of community, if you really think about it, here are some pillars, as I would like to call them, to get us to being part of this community. One of them is that, yes, this is my family. I like to hang out with these people. But why do I like to hang out with these people? That's the real question.
Good question.
And there, again, there bifurcation there. One part of it is the lane of accountability. They hold me accountable. Uh, they want me to become a better person. They're my, like, they're my knight in shining armor kind of a thing. They will not let me astray. I am in good hands. And that's the whole thing. Like they're going to do what they said they're going to do. Exactly what you were talking about. It's basically just building those pieces into your delivery mechanism, and software is part of it. So it's accountability. And then on the other side of it, like accountability is a good way of slapping the wrist, and saying, oh, you did not do this. But there's the other side of it, which is celebration. And you're giving them the love, you're giving them the attention, you're giving them the attaboys when they are just doing something great. And that great could also be a spectrum from you did your best PR to you just showed up. Like you did not feel like showing up, but you showed up today. And everything in between is essentially something or the other. You just find ways to keep nudging them and egging them along in that journey, because fitness is a lifelong journey. So those are your two big pillars. And then in the other pieces is how do you incentivize them? Because like we all know, right? Like you got to incentivize the behaviors you want to see. At the end of the day, we're already trying to get a behavioral change
Mhm.
in people. So can we incentivize the behaviors? It's that's where the loyalty comes in. You're giving them something or the other to just incentivize for them to keep showing up, which a lot of this comes down to, like I said, um, if they just showed up, they would be in a better frame of mind, they would do better, and the results will come, is one component of it. Like there's something to be said about being smarter,
Yeah,
but
so let me jump in on that, because I have a question for, as you're talking about like incentivizing people and reinforcing the behavior we want to see, and I completely agree. Those are integral to retention and integral to someone getting the results that you promised we would get them. Can we make the jump from, we have the foundation of I need to belong to this community, and I need to like spending time with these people. Why do I like spending time with these people? As you said, I like spending time with these people because they hold me accountable and they reinforce the behavior that is good for me and healthy for me. Can we translate that all the way down to and do this specific thing? Like what should we be doing as gym owners and coaches every day, that is, as in, give me an actual step. What is an action step? If I can do this or send this, or uh how would I do that? So I totally agree it's important. What would you suggest in how am I going to manage that for 60 people up to 150 people up to 300 people?
Yeah, and great question. And that's where technology definitely comes in to help you. Just pause there. I want to complete the other part, like as you were rolling things out. The other thing is, in addition to incentivizing, people like to hang out because they know that you are being heard. So that's where the feedback component also comes in.
Yeah,
Like, I gave you some insights, I shared something with you, and you took the time to listen to it. And you could decide whether you want to act on it or not. The action could be, thank you very much, Mrs. Rosie, for sharing that with me, but like, we're not going to do anything about it. That's also fine, but at least I took the time to listen to you. So that's the other component. Now, back to your question, I would say basic building blocks, right? And the software could play a part. You could actually take out a paper and do it, put it on your Google calendars. It doesn't really matter, but the steps to take is to build that bond. And the big best practices out there is to really know them, to connect with them. And how do you connect with people is when you genuinely care about them. And I think that's something that comes very naturally to this industry that we're in. Like technicians, trainers, they have big hearts. They just want to go in and make a difference, and they
right,
genuinely care about the client, so much so that if they cancel, they take it personally, like, it must be me, I did not stand up, I did not do a good job.
right,
So how do you personally connect? You know your person, you know your avatar, you know your customer really, really well. And knowing them means some of the things that we spoke about. What are their goals, right? What are their family about, right? Like what drives them, what excites them, and what motivates them. Like, you just have that understanding, and thereafter you're leveraging that insight to continue to engage with them. So things like, yes, the birthday stuff is beaten down at this point to say, do you know what are important life-changing events in your customer's life? Birthdays is one. Do we know if they've moved to a new community? What do we know what's happening with their kids? Do we know what's happening with their dogs? Like, their furry friends. And if we can track that information, because the human mind can only do so much, but we can put it down in software and then have the software nudge us, remind us to use those insights and tidbits to connect. That's one. The other bigger piece is we're talking about showing up, incentivizing the behaviors, and this research that was done by Ursa. One of the big, what I would think, one of the little findings, one of the tangible findings that they gave was people who show up 8 times or more in a month stay longer, right?
hmm,
And retention, at the heart of it, is, what is retention? It's having your members stay longer. So they stay longer and pay longer. So how do you stay longer? Well, can we track their attendance? A lot of softwares track attendance, but that's the piece. But now, can we leverage that to connect with them and connect with their goal. So now it's the communication that you use, not just how you're doing, but it's like, hey, this was important to you. We're here for you. You've not shown up. How can we help you in your journey to get that goal? Because we know that goal is
So
important.
let's go through a list of metrics as far as tracking goes. So can you give me like let's do just give me 5 things that we should be tracking that will help with retention, and whether we're doing it on pen and paper or a Google sheet or with a great CRM that can help us with that tracking. Give me 5 things that we should be tracking that will help with retention.
Okay, cool. So number one is, like we said, what does retention mean? I want them to stay longer. Stay longer. Okay. Well, how long do they stay today? So let me track current length of engagement, leg. Let me track current churn rate. And now I know my metric. Now I know where I stand. This is my baseline. And now every effort that we do, we can measure if I am moving the standard, if I'm raising the standard, if I'm changing the baseline. So that's one, right? Know your numbers, know your metric. The second is all these important dates that we spoke to you about. Like, how do I find a way to genuinely and personally connect with my members? Because if I connect with them, they're part of my community, and that's their birthdays, their anniversaries, their furry friends' anniversaries and birthdays, what have you. The third part is their accomplishments. What have they done? And the accomplishments could be in the form of progress, better PR, frequent sweaters. Like now they've done 10 like milestones. They've done 10 sessions. They've done 25 sessions. They've done 50 sessions. So again, I would lump all of them under the milestone accomplishment section 3. Fourth is internal community building. Like we're all concentric circles at this point. So are they staying in vacuum, or have we been able to build a network inside the gym where I've been able to bring people together? I've basically, we've become that connection machine inside. So now it's just not, they're not just staying because I'm getting them great results, which is going to be my fifth one, which is, can we track their results? Can we track their progress? And can we show them that you started here and now you're over here, and we change their vocabulary? A really good example of this is a lot of people come in and say, I want more energy. I want to lose weight. And then when they're in that journey, then you realize, well, losing weight doesn't make any difference. What you're really saying is I want to lose fat. So now they're much more educated, they're much more informed. So you're bringing in that component. Those would be my 5. Can give you a couple more, but those would be my 5.
What and I think that's great. I think if we're from checking important dates to lifetime to life events, to understanding the metrics of their results, to tracking their connections, to tracking their milestones, all really, really powerful tools. So let's say we're tracking all of that, right? And we're tracking all of these metrics and tracking all of this data. Can you give me an idea of okay, so now we have all this data. Realistically, what do I do with that data? And since automation is becoming such a huge part of operating at scale, can you give me an idea of what do we do with this data, and what part does automation play in that?
Yeah, great. So I was listening to something, I don't know what it was, but something to this point said, knowledge is power, right? So tracking gives you that knowledge, but there's a fallacy there. It is not power till you act on it. And I guess Jim Rohn said somewhere, it's like you have all a library of books, but you don't read. What's the point? So now you track all this, there's no point. So the real differentiator is the action. So what do I do with it? Well, you take actions with it. So you don't need to start with all 5. You can just do one, but start doing it really, really well. And here's another piece that that might serve all of us well is more, better, new. So do the thing, do more of it, like find out what works, do more of it, and then you work towards optimizing it, and then you pick up a new thing. So I'm already celebrating their birthdays through a message or through this thing? Am I doing it for everybody? Now that's what I'm thinking about better. Am I doing it for everybody? Do I have a system in place? Do I do it on the day of? Or in our case, we try to do it a day before, because if you're doing it on the day of, it's like, Facebook might notify you, but I want to show that, no, I was aware about this. It was conscious thing. So I do it a day before. Little thing, but that's our system now. And we have a way of doing it before we pick up the next new thing, which now could be, okay, now I'm going to track their milestones. And then what's the process around that? So more, better, new. We go down that path. So you take actions. You just keep taking actions, little things that you do, and then you stack them up to help you in your retention efforts or anything, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about taking action, what I've seen work really, really well is how many actions am I taking? How many touch points do I have with somebody per week outside the gym, right? Outside of that space. There's a really powerful message in, I was thinking about you when you weren't here. It's a great relationship building tool when you feel like, oh, someone was thinking about me and I'm not even there, which is where I find taking action of sending a message, sending an email, sending a text, sending a DM can be a really powerful tool of just saying, hey, great job today, or hey, happy birthday, or congratulations on the new house, or whatever the case may be. Truly understanding where people are in their lives, because we've tracked that data, and then reaching out to let them know, hey, we're paying attention and we care. Do you feel like member retention has evolved really even over the last like 5 to 10 years? Do you think that's really where the battle is? Do you think the battle right now for gyms is getting new people in, or the battle really is about keeping the people that you have? I know both are important, but where do you feel like the focus is turning in the industry right now?
I think the focus is definitely going into more about member retention now, for 100%. I think for the longest time, the focus, and it still continues to be, is I need more leads. I need more leads. I need
Yeah,
more leads. And once you start going down that path, you start realizing, well, I really don't need more leads. I'm not doing a good enough job in following up with the leads.
mhm.
So that's been one shift. And once you go down that path, you're like, ooh, because the challenge with retention is this: you got to really take an internal look at yourself and say, is my product really that good as I think it is?
Sure.
And that's a call to Jesus kind of a thing for yourself, because we believe and we think about the few people who have followed along with us and stayed with us since day one, and we're guilty of missing out on all the people who did not stay. And we say, yeah, we get someone in, they stay with us forever. Look at this person, look at that person. But we forget about the 90 people who didn't. Because if you were truly having an amazing retention play, you would not have had to spend all that money on ongoing, you know, lead development, marketing agencies. Because think about it, you're just
Everybody would be
replenishing.
stuck on a waiting list, right?
Everybody would be stuck on a waiting list. And our micro gyms, they're no more than 2,000 square feet for the most part now. How many do you need? Like the model now has become, like you were saying, 125, 130, 150. I am good as gold. But not many gyms get there, because they're on this proverbial hamster on a wheel thing. We cycle people, we got people, we're just, whatever we're losing, we're working hard to replenish. So the focus definitely moved over to
Retention.
retention and providing customer experience. I think even the word CRM has evolved now. Earlier it was all about prospects, right? The CRM was leads management, lead nurture, need this thing. But somewhere, at least in my mind, it's like this customer word is really a stakeholder word. And we think customers are three buckets. One is prospects who will become customers. Second is existing customers. And then third, as your staff members who are also your customers, they're customers of the business. So that's where I think the evolution is going towards, in terms of the next stage, if you will, of let's focus on retention. We get retention because the money's always made in the back end. We've already spent the money acquiring them. Now, if we just kept them, we can sell them more. We can upsell them. We can get them to give us referrals, what have you. I don't need to spend that much of money then outside. Just keep it in the ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I think that as retail sort of, there's right now, there's a big, just in general, when it comes to selling anything, when it comes to product, you have retail is really struggling. You see malls closing down, you see strip malls with tons and tons of open space because people can order things online, they can order it online, they can return it online. Retail has become sort of like, and I no longer need to go anywhere to get anything. So if we're going to get someone to go somewhere like the gym, get somewhere to get out of their house, because now people are also working from home. If I'm going to get you out of your house and off the couch, then the experience has to be worth it. And that experience really, really drives experience and relationship really drives retention. So with that in mind, we have all these great principles in play that we've talked about today. Can you give me, since there isn't a gym out there, well, at least not a hugely successful gym out there that is not using some kind of software to either track the schedule, track the billing, track their relationships, send out messaging. If they're really good, they're sending out texts and emails and monitoring their members. Can you give me, we're working in 5 today, apparently. So can you give me 5 features that if I'm going to pick out a software that's going to give me the right tools to manage my people, and I could throw you the low pitch softball, the slow pitch softball and say, hey, tell me all about Naamly. But we know people are all over the spectrum when it comes to software they like it. And I know how important it is to you to give real valuable content. What should someone's software absolutely have in order to help them manage in order to make retention not so challenging?
Okay, so there's a lot of great softwares out there for sure. A large part of it comes down to how do you use the software
Okay.
and the support that you get out of the software, right? So I would say, since we're doing things in 5, thank you for putting me on the spot. I will try to give you 5.
5 tools, but your software's got to be able to do this to make retention easy.
Yeah, so one part of it would be easy segmentation. How am I able to segment my client base, specifically speaking from a retention viewpoint? That would be one. Like, 2 would be, since in the training gym space, accountability. Like, which person from an accountability coach perspective is responsible for my cohort of members? That would be one in my mind, because
Being able to assign members to a coach.
assign members to a coach, because that's how the gym industry typically works. Like, you're the accountability coach for this, you're the accountability coach for this cohort. Yes, we all interact, but you're the captain of the ship, if you will.
Right.
So that would be
It's
another
everybody's responsibility. It's nobody's responsibility. So we need
100%. Yeah. And then again, you can divvy that up. And if you don't want to bring it outside of the software, that's fine too. But if you're looking specifically in software, that's what I would say.
Okay.
But if you're looking outside, you'll be like, okay, who's got whom, and which seats in the bus do we occupy? What do we have on our side as a staff side? Third thing that the software really need to do, which we spoke about a little bit, was how do we simplify, how intuitiveness, how simple, intuitive, and it's in the flow. It's fluid. Now, this is that, how much friction have I reduced? So I know, for example, like the holy grail now is, can we truly have a super app? So if you think about it, Mind, Body, and Wellness Living, what they've done is they started out as being pure play billing and scheduling systems. And now they've added more elements of, let's bring in communication, let's do leads, let's do this, because like now we're becoming more and more a super app where we're integrated with different things and we just bring it all in house. So that's where the holy grail is. Can we truly have an all-in-one, which I think at present is a fallacy, but that is definitely the promised land, for sure. So from a retention viewpoint, it's like, how fluid is it whereby we can connect and get the data about my member? Because only when I know my member can I serve him or her better. And today I find wasting my time in going in multiple platforms. So is there something that brings it all together? So data integration is what I would say.
I'm a big proponent of when I'm working with teams to help build their sales and relationship management and client experience is that if your software allows me to call the person, text the person, email the person, check their goals, check their birthdays, check all of their materials all in one screen, all from one spot. So I'm not click after click after click and digging and digging and digging and searching through reports and searching through all this mess. Can I just pull up one person and be able to do whatever I want with that person right in that spot? I think is awesome. Is key.
Yep.
Is really
Yep.
key. Like how much, I like how you put it, how much friction is there? If I got to log in and dig through one thing after another, it's a pain in the ass. If it's a pain in the ass, chances are that's not going to get executed.
100%. Fourth, I would say, is the support. So, it's one of those things, no one believes that they need support, but everybody does. Like, and so can you look up to a company and say, I know they got my back when when there will be a time of need, because there'll always be a time of need. There's different people learn different ways. They're going to be hiccups. It's just the way of life. So you don't want to be put on hold for 2, 3, 4 hours, or just
Right.
be talking with a bot. Like, figure it out on your own.
It drives me nuts. Yeah. We
Yeah,
we haven't got to the part where you can't, like, I still think humans are really good about understanding whether or not they're talking to another human. Bots have gotten really good, but it's like, please let me. I have actually found that we had this big switch over to rather than calling somewhere to talk to customer service, they want you to go to go online, and you can do it online. You can do it through our chat. I think it was one of the budget airlines. I had an issue, and there is no phone number. They have no phone number. It can only be done through a bot, right? And so I don't fly that airline anymore. And I'm not going to name names because that's not what we do here. But I will not. I don't care if it's $150 cheaper. I'm not flying that airline because I can't talk to anybody. So we went
yep,
from we don't want to talk to anybody. We want to do it all via text to like now this is all botted and fake and AI and there's no connection. Now I want to talk to somebody. So you feel like that's an integral part of like, can you actually, are there humans on the other side that actually care about your success?
100%. Humans, and then that support is a huge, huge thing. I always think of, like, even when we invest our time and money on, like, one of the things that we really go and grapple with is, you remember the old Domino's ad, which was 30 minutes or it's free. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
you
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think about it, like, the psychology over there is they made it everything about not the product, but the delivery of it. It has nothing to do with how good the pizza is.
Yeah.
It's and that's one of the mantras we've taken to heart, is like, the product's going to be good. At some point in time, products will, pretty much from a feature to feature perspective in the ecosystem, will peter out. Like, you got
They'll
texting, we
homogenize.
got texting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got email, we got email. What the hell? Like, but what it will come down to
Yeah.
is the overall experience of how fluid it is and the kind of support you provide. And then I'll talk about the fifth, which is, are you a specialist or are you a generalist?
Hmm.
Right? Specialists will always eat generalists for lunch every single time, because that's exactly why the training gym industry does better, because we're specialists. We will get you results. This is the thing that we need. And we've taken it to the whole extreme level where now we have people who are like, even doctors, right? They're super, super, super specialized. So specialism, are they focused idly on your space? Do they get you? Do they understand what the workflow is for a trainer, coach, training gym? Or it's like, here's a software, use it whatever you want. We serve everybody. Again, to your point, if we serve everybody, you serve nobody. So those would be my five, I think, that I would put
I
out.
find it fascinating, and thinking back over the conversation, that the 5 tools that you should be looking for in like in a software to help with retention are actually the same tools that we need to be using to provide good retention to our members. Does this company actually care about keeping you? Are they going to help you get your results? Are they going to build a relationship with you? Are they going to have your back? Are they going to keep their promise? Is the product good? Is the product doing what it's supposed to do? It's the same. It's literally the same tools, regardless of the industry that you're in. I love that. Once again, sir, thank you so much for your time. I think this is I'm confident that our viewers have some actionable steps to take. And for everybody that's watching, I'd love to hear your comments below of what are some of the unique things and amazing things that you've tried with retention. Don't hesitate to comment below. We read all of those. And if there's other things you want to hear from us, or hear from me, and hear from Sumit, let us know. We look forward to hearing about it. Sumit, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Look forward to the next one.
Yes, thanks. Bye.
The bottom line, if you want to keep your people, treat them like people. Invest in the relationship. If you want our guide to retention, click the link below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time.